The one weekend I went there and the neighbours come out and said, Lesley and the children are not there no more. And that was the first time I then thought, like, what's going on?
Michael wouldn't see his children again for 5 years.
From receiving that phone call in the first place about him going in my daughter's bedroom, and then to this, I knew something was up.
A few days later, police would uncover one of Britain's most shocking family murders.
Obviously the big question is, why my family?
I'm Daisy Maskell, and this is Key Witness Aftermath, where I sit down with those closest to infamous true crimes to uncover what really happened behind the headlines, and how those moments continue to shape their lives every single day. Just before we start, this episode contains references to domestic abuse, sexual offences, and extreme violence. This case is about the kind of possibility most separated parents never allow themselves to fully consider. The quiet fear sitting just beneath the surface, about who your children are with when you're not there, and how much you can really trust what you can't see. In this episode, I speak to Michael about how his life was slowly but completely decimated when he lost contact with his children for 5 long years before they were murdered by his ex-partner's new husband, and how he lives with the consequences today. I want to, take things back to the very start. Where did you meet Lesley?
I met Lesley on a bus in Telford when she was going to work and I caught the same bus to go to my works. Mm-hmm. We said hello, as you do. Never saw her with a sad face or anything. She was lovely. So then I asked her if I could walk her home, to be honest. And then after that, we sort of became partners.
Mm-hmm. In 1983, Michael and Lesley got married in a registry office in Telford, and they were so excited to start their life together. Soon after, they went on to have 4 children. In 1983, they had Sarah Jane, their firstborn. Then they went on to have Anne-Marie in 1984, their first son, Stephen Paul, in 1986, and Craig Jonathan in 1987.
It was the best feeling in the world. I did everything that I could with them. We was always out and about when I was off work at weekends. Everything I did was for them.
Your relationship with Lesley, it comes to an end at a certain point, doesn't it, Michael?
Yes.
But things ended very amicably.
Yeah, it was a bit of a shock to me, and I was very upset, obviously. But the chap Lesley was with after we split up, he was not a bad chap. So he was quite sort of relaxed with me and Lesley being around the kids at weekends together and, you know, taking them up to town centres, going out for dinners with them and that.
However, those times would be cut short because soon after, Lesley met a new man, and this man wasn't willing to be amicable, and he wasn't willing to be part of the family. Lesley meets Lee Ford later that year.
When I was going round to pick the children up at the weekends, things got a little bit awkward, whereas I come to pick the children up, he'd come to the door, they're not ready, come back in an hour. And it was just little things like that. Mm-hmm. And that was the way he was. He tried to run everything. When I had the children at weekends, I was always asking if they were happy and if Mum was happy. And they never once mentioned anything was out of the ordinary. And then the one weekend I went there and the neighbours come out and said, Lesley and the children are not there no more. Mm-hmm. And that was the first time I then thought, like, what's going on?
Michael was right to feel uneasy because something had been brewing behind closed doors. It was an ordinary Saturday and Michael was due to spend the weekend as planned with his children. He arrived at Lesley's house and knocked on the door, but there was no answer. The neighbours said that they heard banging and shouting in the middle of the night. They saw a van pull up and they saw Lesley and the children put their belongings inside and drive off, seemingly disappearing without a trace. I think it's also important to remember that this is the 1990s, so it was very difficult, if not near impossible, to get in contact with someone. Lesley didn't have a mobile phone, and it's not like you could find her on Facebook or track her movements on social media or online. She really did disappear, and Michael had no idea as to where to begin or how to track her and the children down. When Lesley, I guess at the time you didn't know that she'd moved away with the kids, what happened to your contact?
I had no idea where they were.
Yeah.
And that was the end of the contact for me.
Yeah.
And I had no phone calls, no numbers, no family numbers. And Lesley, I found out later, didn't even have a phone herself because he took her phone off her the day before. He was controlling. He was beating Lesley up. Lesley had moved from where she was to be near my mum in Cornwall. Then he's rung Lesley's mum up and posed that he's from the social welfare checking. He needs to know where they live because they need to come and do a welfare check. And Lesley's mum's then giving him the phone number, and he's gone all the way down to Cornwall and blagged his way in there that way. And then obviously they've got together again, and he's obviously said he's going to change. While they're in Cornwall, they both get married and eventually have 2 more children. So I thought that was everything complete for them.
You lose contact for, was it around 5 years with Lesley and the children?
Probably a bit longer than that, actually.
Yeah.
It was horrible. Just like they'd gone off the face of the earth at the time.
5 agonising years pass, and Michael still hadn't received any information about his family. Lesley and the children had seemingly disappeared without a trace. Until one day, Michael receives a call about an incident that happened with his children. And it was on that call that Michael found out some identifying information about their whereabouts. He finds out that Sarah Jane, Lesley and Michael's oldest daughter, is working in a McDonald's near Falmouth, which is a town in Cornwall. So Michael takes it upon himself to call round every McDonald's in the county. Until one day, in May 2000, 5 years after losing contact with his children, he hears Sarah Jane's voice at the end of the call. What went through your mind when you heard your daughter's voice at the end of that phone call?
I was overwhelmed, to be honest. I was crying, but also hopeful that it could be the start of something.
Yeah.
With the contact again, but unfortunately it didn't work out that way.
Michael was terrified about the reality that his children were facing. He refused to be pushed away again, and as more anxiety and worry was building, he knew that he had to take action.
So once I'd heard Sarah Jane was working in McDonald's, I made my mind up straight away. I was going down to Cornwall to have a look around, and I'm pretty sure I went to every McDonald's, but couldn't find nothing. I couldn't find where she was. Asked questions, and obviously I asked it a couple, and they wouldn't tell me anyway because of, protection. So it was at a standstill again. Obviously she mustn't have been working. And then when I got back that weekend, everything had happened.
Meanwhile in Cornwall, life for Lee carried on with some semblance of normality. He was seen drinking at his local cricket club. But people started noticing that Lesley and the children were nowhere to be seen, and they asked Lee about it, who gave them a range of excuses and explanations. Lee told neighbours that Lesley had moved out, taking the 4 children that she had with Michael with her. Lee, at this point, had 2 children of his own with Lesley, and he actually called his parents, who lived in Telford, and told them that Lesley had left him and taken the 4 children that she'd had with Michael. And he actually asked his parents if they could look after his 2 children for a while, as he wanted to go out and find Lesley. Lee personally returned the 4 children's textbooks to Helston School, telling the teachers they would not be coming back to the area. And it was also noted that Lee had begun making advances to a former girlfriend, telling her that his wife had left him. And while these excuses stopped the questions from some people, they weren't washing with Lesley's brother. A month goes by and he hadn't heard from her, and so he decides to officially report Lesley and the children missing to the police. Police visit Lee Ford at his home shortly after, and he tells the police that Lesley had left him and she'd taken the 4 children with her. At that time when you were first delivered this news, did it feel out of the ordinary? Because I guess Lesley had left with the children sort of seemingly overnight before. Did something feel different about that time from...
I knew there was a problem.
Did you?
From receiving that phone call in the first place. Because at the first, when the police rang me, it was just a case of, they've gone missing, where are they?
Yeah.
But I knew something was up.
Mm-hmm. And did your mind immediately go to,
yes,
he's done something?
My mind went to, he's done something to Lesley, or he's done something to the children.
Yeah. It's at this point that police decide that they want to question Lee Ford again, but when they go to do so, they find that he's now missing too. Police put out a public appeal for information and say that Lee Ford is wanted for questioning over the disappearance of his family. And things from here escalate quickly, because on the 4th of October 2000, Lee Ford is stopped and arrested by police on the A30 at Bodmin Moor. Police search what was Lesley and Lee's house in Cornwall, and that's where, the following day, on the 5th of October, police discover 3 bodies in the woodshed at the Carnkey bungalow. It's Lesley and Stephen Paul and Craig Jonathan. On the 6th of October, the final 2 bodies of Sarah Jane and Anne-Marie were found by a farmer in a potato field 6 miles away. What began as a missing persons case had become something far darker. And what investigators found about how those bodies had come to be in the field and in the woodshed, and why, would leave the country in shock.
Obviously, I went home that night. I rang my brothers and sisters and my mum and that, and said, look, the police have been on the phone. Then later on that night, police went to the bungalow and searched the bungalow. They discovered a bomb. And with 2 boys in the shed under a load of logs. And then a report came in later on. My brother rings up, he's got the news on, saying that they'd had a tip off from a farmer saying that they had found 2 daughters.
Were you finding this information out from the news, Michael?
Yes. It wasn't from the police.
It's just shameless. That is outrageous.
Yeah.
What did you learn about what had happened to Lesley and the children?
I know he was sexually abusing my daughters, and that was confirmed. I know he was beating Lesley up, not only using his fists, but using weapons as well, such as bats and... Yeah. He got me 4 children. We'd done it since we were babies. Since they were babies, we have a cup of chocolate or something at night. Mm-hmm. I do know that he drugged them. And one by one, he took them in the kitchen and got in them.
Lesley and Lee had been arguing, and he had hit Lesley across the face with a rounder's bat. He goes into their garage to cool off, and while he's there, he notices some rope. He picks that rope up and he returns back inside the family home. He walks behind Lesley and he strangles her. And it's at this point that he decides that he's going to kill all 4 of Lesley and Michael's children too. After killing them, he wraps each victim in sheets and covered them with lime in an attempt to accelerate decomposition and hide the smell. For 5 weeks, Lee Ford lives in their family home while the bodies of his wife, Lesley, and his 4 stepchildren were slowly decomposing on the property. Until one day, Lee gets a knock on the door. He answers it, and it's the police. And they're asking Lee about where his wife and his stepchildren may have gone to. It's at this point that Lee clearly panics, and shortly after, he begins to move some of their bodies. Just to picture Lee Ford living in what was their family home and going around town, making up lies and excuses as to where his wife and stepchildren were, going out to his local pub for a drink, even reconnecting with a former girlfriend, all whilst his wife and stepchildren were, for want of a better word, rotting at the bottom of their garden it's just beyond words. It is just so unbelievably evil. On the 24th of May 2001, Lee Ford pleads guilty to 5 counts of murder at Bristol Crown Court, and he is sentenced to 5 life terms with a minimum of 32 years, which was later reduced to 27 years. This case never went to trial, and his motive was never formally established beyond all reasonable doubt, and Lee Ford has never given a real reason as to why he committed these murders too. All we can say is that we know what happened and we know what came immediately before it. In May 2000, just a few months before the murders, Lesley saw a solicitor because she was concerned about the threat of violence, but also about a possible sexual relationship between Lee Ford and her and Michael's oldest daughter, Sarah Jane. The solicitor contacted social services, but no action was taken. Lesley then confronted Lee Ford. Whether the call to social services and the potential exposure of this alleged abuse was a direct trigger, we can't say for certain, as everyone involved except Lee Ford is dead, and Lee Ford has never admitted to the sexual relationship with Sarah Jane. But this isn't the end for Michael. His suffering is not over, because Lee Ford is eligible for parole from October 2027.
My aim is for the justice system to come out and do the right thing by telling him he will never ever come out. And that's why there's a petition going. I just want him to rot in hell. That's what I want.
In October 2021, Michael and his supporters launched a public petition to prevent Lee Ford's potential release. And that petition now has over 40,000 signatures. And the link to the petition is in the show notes. How is it making you feel that these conversations are coming up so soon? I mean, as early as sort of next year.
I'm getting more. I'm anxious. I do get angry. I've got a lot of good people around me. Obviously, I'm married now, and my wife is very, very supportive. She's known us all her life anyway, but I still have my times where I worry I go back to where I was when it first happened. Because when everything happened, I had a problem where I was drinking up to 3 bottles of brandy a day. I haven't gone back to that, but I worry I do. I worry I'm going to lose my mind. So I'm always on edge.
Yeah.
And dreading the day that somebody speaks to me and says, this is going to happen.
Mm-hmm. I imagine you still have so many questions unanswered, Michael. Are there any particular questions that you would have really wanted an answer to?
Obviously, the big question is why? Why my family? Why Lesley? I really don't know. I was told that he wanted to meet me. But that's never going to happen.
How did you feel about that?
Angry. because I also know that if I did go and meet him, I know what his reaction would be. He would probably tell me he enjoyed doing what he did.
Oh,
because that's how that's my thinking of it, because he could just sit there, he knows he's got a sentence, he knows it doesn't matter what he says, but it could hurt me even, I say hurt me even more, it couldn't hurt me even more, but it's another...
Knowing, I mean, you've interacted with this man, do you believe that is exactly the type of person that he is, that was the reason that he would want to have some sort of contact or conversation with you?
Yes.
It is inconceivable to me that a man that has brutally murdered 5 innocent people, 4 of which were children, is up for parole next year. And a grieving father and ex-husband will have to live alongside him. Lee Ford will be in his 60s if he gets out. So he could get married again. He could be around children again. He could live life again, all whilst taking those opportunities away from Lesley, Sarah Jane, Anne-Marie, Stephen Paul, Craig Jonathan, and to a certain extent, Michael too. This is not justice. This is torture for Michael. I asked Michael what he thinks that his family would be up to today.
So I think my boys would be doing what I would be doing, into the football, in all sports, to be honest. I know that they was big onto the sports. He used to go into school every day and talk about football with the mates and do it at weekends. And the girls, I think, all met up in the school days where they'd be out and about on the cricket pitch, meeting up and going out together. And I'm sure they would all lovely be all together today.
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah.
Are there little ways that Lesley and your children still show up in your life today?
There's a lot of things to do, because where I live, I still live in roughly the same area, about 4 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
But there's places I go, I've always got the fond memories of, we used to go to that park there, we used to go there, we used to walk up there. And I do reminisce a little bit and think, they were the times. I'd just like to say that Lesley was a fantastic mother, and she did everything for the children, and she'd be there all the time. She was fantastic. Fantastic mum.
Thanks for listening to Key Witness Aftermath. If you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to subscribe.